All right, YouTube, once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. We're talking to Auburn football. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger War Eagle. Talking some 2020 recruiting here on Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn today. I definitely appreciate the support. Go ahead and click the bell and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the action here on Vernon Speaks Sports. We talk about a lot of stuff that maybe might get a little bit past you every now and then, especially when we talk about this particular recruiting class. I think easily one of the most surprising recruits of this class was Auburn's ability to flip ROMELLO Height from Miami over to Auburn. And this just goes to show Auburn's influence in recruiting in the state of Georgia. Several players from the state of Georgia have made the commitment to Auburn. And this one is pretty significant because I think Auburn probably has a rare kind of gem, 2-for-1 type of deal in a guy like ROMELLO Height. Now, if you look at his highlights, is all of his stuff, all of the 3-star recruiting ranking, position-wise, I believe that 3-star rating is because he played several positions. It was kind of hard to get a full gauge on his actual skill set, but he's being recruited mostly as an inside linebacker. And if you look at him on film review, you can understand kind of sort of why. When he was at his defensive end position, instead of being in attack mode, he appeared to be, well, his comfort level appeared to be standing up, surveying the football kind of like a linebacker would. And his initial steps were that of a linebacker. It seems like his instinctive abilities tended to lean towards more of a linebacker skill set at the Power 5 level versus a defensive end. Now, maybe he could be coached into helping out with the defensive end, but just looking at his overall skill set, his ability to attack the football, his range, he has long arms so he can make those stretch tackles. Hopefully he doesn't get any horse collars though, but he can stretch his arms out to make those difficult tackles, to extend his body to make those particular plays. And I think with what Auburn has as far as linebacker core, I really think he will be a perfect supplement or a perfect for depth for the Auburn Tigers coming into this 2020 season. Of course, you got Wesley Steiner in this particular recruiting class, which is going to be huge for Auburn, especially to continue that speed, continue that agility that Auburn has been able to recruit over the past few years, which was very helpful in the 2019 season. Because I'm telling you, I tell you this every time I make a video about Auburn's linebackers. That stuff that Auburn was able to pull in the LSU game, that 3-1-7 that everybody keeps talking about, you take away a really good defensive line and you take away a really athletic linebacker core, and Auburn gets blown out just like everybody else in that LSU game. I'm here to tell you, I guarantee you, guys like Owen Pappo, who was able to help supplement in those dig routes, that was really huge for the Auburn Tigers against LSU. Then you add guys to this 2020 recruiting class like ROMELLO Height, having that ability to sell ROMELLO Height on the possibility to extend his talent to a more of a fit type position for him. The more I look at him on film, he's either going to play that Sam linebacker. I don't really see him being the Mike linebacker, but I really see him kind of sort of as a little bit faster version of a Montavious Atkinson with the height and with the speed. He's got longer arms and he has a better closing speed on the football. I think this was a huge game for the Tigers, and it definitely shows from a perception standpoint Auburn's ability to flip, this guy from a up-and-coming Miami football team, a team that has a great coaching staff, the team that's starting to develop a better culture of football than what they've had in the recent past. I think this is probably one of those great gets for the Tigers in the 2020 recruiting class, kind of similar to DJ Williams. Nobody really saw the DJ Williams recruit coming until late. As a matter of fact, this ROMELLO Height kid, he came to my attention during the recruiting class. I figured everything was locked up. And then one of my fraternity brothers is actually a huge Georgia fan. Brian Allen, he's actually commented a lot here on this particular channel. He calls me up and say, hey, man, how the hell did y'all flip ROMELLO White from Miami? Because he likes Miami, too. And I'm like, who the hell is ROMELLO Height? I didn't even know who the guy was. But it was a huge gain. I looked at video footage on ROMELLO Height. I think this is just a really good deal for the Auburn defense, who right now, if you look at S&P, it's kind of like a statistical analysis type deal to where they do some real cerebral stuff about how to analyze the totality of a defense. And I think they might have got it right, because you got Georgia, Oregon, and then Auburn at number 3. I think one of the reasons is, one, Auburn's got some studs here on this recruiting class. 2, picking up on Marco Domillo as a cornerback did a very good job in this recruiting class with picking up cornerbacks and safeties, which will help supplement the loss of Noah Igbenogany and Javaris Davis, guys like those, and then Daniel Thomas and Jeremiah Denson. Of course, you're going to miss their experience, but I think Auburn has a little bit more talent at that safety position than they've had with Jeremiah Denson and Daniel Thomas. So Auburn is projected to be one of the 3rd best defenses in the country. That bodes well for Auburn's schedule, because you talk about a schedule that's a lot more manageable. You're starting off with Alcorn State from FCS SWAC conference. They do very well in the SWAC conference, but of course they don't compete, or they don't recruit nearly on the same level as even the typical 1AA team, and let alone you talk about SEC. That should not be any kind of matchup there. Then you have next week against North Carolina, a really nice test. I think North Carolina plays very well on defense, pushed Clemson all the way into, I want to say that game went into overtime, but it was actually very close to where some say North Carolina missed a huge opportunity to win that particular football game. But a very favorable schedule for Auburn. Auburn actually has Georgia in the middle of the season. And of course, with the way the schedule is set up for the 2020 season, the SEC West will be decided no matter what in the month of November, because Auburn has LSU and Alabama in back-to-back weeks. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that particular deal turns out. All right, guys, tell me what you think about this one. Go ahead and talk about ROMELLO Height in your or in our comment section. Let me know what you think about what I think is probably one of the best surprise gains for the Auburn Tigers in the 2020 recruiting class. You know what to do. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And as always, it is great to be an Auburn Tiger. War.